After 4 years of heartbreak, an incredible discovery changed everything when he saw our hidden connection. Chris Bennett wiped the sweat from his brow as he slid out from beneath the old Chevy, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on him. For long years had passed since the judge banged the gavel, and with each passing day, the chasm between him and his daughter, Lily, felt wider. The joyous laughter that once filled their home was replaced by silence, broken only by the clinking of tools and the whir of machinery in his small mechanic shop. As bills piled up like discarded engine parts, regret gnawed at him. Was he doing enough to make things right? The day began like any other, but a cloud of hopelessness hung around Chris's heart. He closed his shop and headed to the Maplewood Community Center, a place filled with echoes of the happy memories he once had, a time when he could take Lily to the annual pancake breakfast, her laughter blending with the other children's as they flipped syrup-coated pancakes. But when he stepped inside, something glimmered in the corner. A dusty, forgotten box caught his eye. Curiosity stirred within him as he approached, even as the shadows of despair whispered doubts. Inside were old letters, yellowed and fragile, words written by the hand of his late father, a man who had weathered his own storms. Chris's heart raced as he unfolded the first letter. With each word he was transported back to his father's life, a soldier battling his own demons, a man with cracks in his armor. The painful recognition struck him. "I felt alone," the letter read. "I never wanted you to feel the same." Tears pricked at the corners of his eyes. His father, too, had struggled with love lost, navigating misunderstandings within the family. Chris's heart ached not only for his father but for himself, for the distance that had grown between him and Lily, for the silent nights spent wishing things were different. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Chris read more letters, emotion surged within him: sacrifice, love, and a deep-rooted regret that transcended generations. He realized he was standing at a crossroads, given the chance to break the cycle. With newfound clarity, he felt an invigorating strength. He could mend the bonds that mattered. He envisioned himself sharing moments with Lily, their laughter soaring like a kite in the wind. Yet a shadow loomed over him: the fear of rejection from the very ones he loved. It was hard to imagine that the little girl he adored might not welcome him back with open arms. The thought of stepping back into her world, especially after nearly slipping away, sent shivers down his spine. The climax hit him like a thunderclap when he learned of Lily's school play. A moment flickered in his mind: what if he missed it? What if this was his chance to make a genuine connection again? As the lights dimmed in the auditorium, he almost didn't dare enter. Chris stood at the threshold, his heart a pounding drum. Would she want to see him? Was it too late for him to reclaim the title of dad? The audience shifted, breaths held in anticipation. An undeniable tension filled the air. A question hanging loose: could shattered bonds ever truly be restored? Chris took a deep breath, his heart racing against his ribcage. With every beat, he could feel the echo of his daughter's laughter, the squeeze of her tiny hand in his. But that was just a whisper of what had been. He pushed through the heavy auditorium doors, dread weighing down his resolve like cast iron. As he stepped further in, familiar faces turned, some glancing with curiosity, others with disdain. His eyes scanned the crowd, drawn instantly to a cluster of parents. They were smiling, proud and loud, ready to support their kids. Chris's throat tightened, a knot of guilt and longing churned within him. He caught sight of Lily, nestled among her friends, her brows knit with focus as she adjusted her bright costume. Her hair, so much longer now, framed her face, and she looked every bit the star he remembered, yet so different. The moment their eyes locked was electric, freezing time in a paradox where hurt met hope. She blinked, surprise flickering across her features, then hesitated. Chris braced himself, desperately clutching onto the gentle feeling inside, hoping she might smile. But instead, her expression morphed into something harder. Did she remember the warmth of their past, buried beneath the hurt of absence? Pang shot through him. Did she want to acknowledge him at all? The silence around him felt suffocating, thickening the air. He and Lily had built a fortress around their hearts. She was still just a child, and yet he feared the wall she had constructed to shield herself from him. Before he could digest this new wave of emotions, the lights dimmed further. The stage illuminated in bright colors, and he turned his gaze to the performance. Children flooded the stage, giggles transforming into song. Laughter swirled around him, a bittersweet reminder of moments they had shared. When Lily emerged, the crown of her head adorned with a glittering tiara. He couldn't help but tense up. She was radiant, embodying the joy that Chris once believed would be a constant within their home. As she sang, graceful and captivating, tears brimmed in his eyes. Each note felt like a plea, a tentative reach across the chasm that had formed between them. The audience erupted in applause after each number, but Chris felt somewhat detached, submerged in a sea of emotion. At that moment, all he could think was how he had been absent when she needed him most. Her talent, her passion, all the things he cherished about her blossoming, and he had missed so much. As the final song concluded, the claps echoed louder, but Chris noticed she was scanning the crowd for something. No, someone. Was it him? His heart skipped a beat in anticipation. Then, when the lights dimmed again, the school principal stepped up to the microphone. "We would like to invite all the parents to meet their children backstage." The call broke through the magic and reminded Chris of the barriers still standing between him and his daughter. The audience buzzed with excitement as people filed out of their seats. Chris stood hesitantly, uncertainty wrapping around him. What if Lily didn't want to see him? What if she turned away? As Chris made his way backstage, he sensed the gravity of what was about to happen. This was his chance. The air felt charged, and he could hear his own heartbeat as he approached the door to the back room. His hand lingered above the knob, wavering in suspense. Would this be a moment of reconciliation or rejection? Would Lily understand that he was finally ready to step back into her life? He hesitated for just a moment, ready to embrace whatever lay beyond. Would the past remain a shadow over them? Or could this encounter be the first step toward healing? Chris's heart thudded like a bass drum as he turned the knob. The backstage area burst into a flurry of movement, parents hugging their children, laughter spilling over every corner. Voices mingled, creating a joyful cacophony. Yet, in the midst of that brightness, he felt hollow and still. Stepping through the door, he caught sight of Lily. She was laughing, her friends circling her like a vibrant galaxy, the happiest star at its center. The glittering tiara still perched atop her head. She looked so different from the little girl he remembered, more poised and independent, yet achingly similar in spirit. But then she paused, her eyes scanning the crowd once more. This time they landed on him. The laughter drowned out, and Chris felt the world shrink to just the two of them. All the parents around him faded. He met her gaze, searching for a flicker of recognition, something to bridge the gap of years lost. But nothing came. Just uncertainty stared back at him from those bright eyes. "Dad?" Lily's voice was barely a whisper, yet it sliced through the noise. It echoed in the narrow space, a mixture of surprise and caution. "Yes, Lily," he replied, stepping forward, the distance between them feeling like an ocean despite the mere arm's length separating them. She hesitated, her smile unclear now. People nudged past him, oblivious to the powerful moment unfolding. Chris could see the clashing emotions flit across her face. Was she happy to see him? Angry? A mix of both? He took another step closer. His own heartbeat matched the rhythm of his mounting anxiety. "I need to talk to you," he said softly, as if raising his voice would somehow break the fragile tension. But instead of closing the gap, Lily shifted, moving back slightly, guarded. The laughter of her friends faded as they noticed the interaction. Some exchanged curious glances, while others whispered among themselves. Chris felt every gaze like a spotlight on his back. The guilt weighed down on him like lead. "What do you want?" she asked, her tone flat, the innocence of childhood replaced with a layer of hurt. "Just to be a part of your life again," he managed, the words catching in his throat. For years of absence had led him to this moment, and he needed her to understand he had changed. Why now? The question hung in the air, heavy with the bitterness of unanswered years. "Why didn't you come before? I know I missed so much, I know I hurt you," he said, desperation edging his voice. "I don't expect you to forgive me right away. But being here tonight I realized how much I miss you." How much I regret being away." For an instant her expression softened. He caught a hint of the little girl he used to know, the spark of joy when he played dress-up or sang her to sleep. But just as quickly it hardened again. "Do you really mean that?" Lily's voice trembled, as if she were on the edge of a precipice, ready to leap or fall back. "Yes, I do. Let me show you." A wave of determination surged within him. "I want to be present. In every way, I promise. Just give me a chance." The space between them felt charged with possibility, flickering like the stage lights overhead. Chris's eyes pleaded with her, willing her to take that leap of faith and trust him once more. But just then, another parent called out her name, pulling Lily's attention away. Chris felt the moment slipping. "Lily," he said urgently. "Please." She turned, the pain of conflict evident on her face as she walked away. Each step she took felt like a fracture in his heart. He could only watch as she rejoined her friends, laughter returning to the backstage air. Chris stood frozen, anchored in place by regret. Would he lose her again? As he exhaled sharply, a storm of emotions swirled inside him. He wouldn't back down. This encounter might have been just the beginning, but he knew he'd fight for her every moment until she let him in. Would the winds of change blow through their lives, or would the walls remain impenetrable between them? He clenched his jaw, steeling himself for whatever lay ahead. One thing was clear: this was far from over. Chris lingered backstage, feeling the thrum of laughter and joy swirl around him like an invisible current. It was overwhelming. His chest felt tight as he grappled with the reality of Lily walking away, leaving him standing there, so close and yet so far. He forced himself to breathe, trying to shake off the weight of despair clinging to him. He had come here to mend things, to be her dad once again, but watching her, vibrant and full of life, also reminded him of everything he had missed. He took a step back, leaning against the wall as he watched her from a distance. Lily was wrapped up in her friends, sharing stories and laughter, but every so often she would glance back at him. Each look felt like a spark igniting something buried deep within. He could almost see the walls she'd built around herself, so carefully constructed to keep him out. It hurt to see, but also made him respect her strength. "Hey, are you okay?" A voice broke through the noise. Chris turned to find Jenna, one of the parents, standing beside him. She offered a warm smile, though her brow was knit with concern. "Just trying to find my way back," he admitted, the honesty spilling out before he could catch it. "You've been away for a long time, Chris." "It's not going to be easy," she replied gently. "But you're out here trying. That's a start. Does it get easier?" He questioned, hopeful yet anxious. Jenna hesitated before answering. "It can. But only if you keep showing up. Even when it's uncomfortable. Especially then." Her words resonated, echoing in his mind. He needed to keep trying, even if it felt like wandering through fog. As the evening progressed, Chris found himself drifting closer to the edges of the crowd, hoping to catch another glimpse of Lily. She was dancing with her friends now, joy lighting up her face. He could almost picture them laughing as he twirled her around when she was younger, her tiny hands gripping his cheeks, squealing in delight. But the past was gone, and now she was this bright, independent girl. Could he really find his way back into her life? With resolve firing up inside him, Chris stepped out of the shadows, his gaze fixed firmly on Lily. He needed to make her see his intentions were genuine. She wouldn't allow herself to be hurt again. With a deep breath, he took a step closer, pushing through the crowd. "Lily!" he called out, his voice cutting through the laughter. Her head turned, momentarily caught off guard. The room quieted slightly, all eyes flicking between them both. Chris's heart raced again as he held her gaze. "What do you want now?" she asked, but there was no anger in her voice this time, just weariness. "Just a moment," he replied, holding her gaze steady. "Can we talk? Just the two of us?" A flicker of uncertainty crossed her face, and for a moment, he thought she might refuse. But then, to his surprise, she nodded. "Okay," she said hesitantly, stepping away from her friends. They found a small corner tucked away, with less noise to drown out their conversation. The air felt charged again, the tension palpable. "Look, I know it's confusing," Chris started, his voice steady despite the quaking inside. "I don't expect you to trust me, but I want to show you that I really am different now. I want to try and make things right. We can start fresh together. Lily was silent for a moment, searching his eyes for something. Hope? Truth? Do you even know what I've been through? She finally asked, her voice barely a whisper. Yes, he admitted, and I know I let you down. But I want to understand. I want to be there for you the way I should have been. Tears glimmered in her eyes, and for a moment, Chris thought she might break. Yet she held strong, battling emotions behind her gaze. Why should I believe you? Why should I let you in again? As he opened his mouth to respond, a sudden desperate thought hit him. Maybe she needed more than words. It wasn't just about proving he had changed, it was about showing it. I'll do anything to earn your trust back, he said, conviction clear in his voice. Name it. Her expression shifted. Curiosity peering through the hurt. Anything. Anything, he repeated firmly, ready to embrace whatever challenge it took. But just as she was about to respond, the crowd swelled, and a burst of activity pulled her back to her friends. The moment shattered. Lily. One of her friends called, laughing as they motioned for her return. Chris felt the air drain out of his moment, leaving only the heaviness of his heart. Would he get another chance to prove himself, to break those walls down? As he stood there, watching her walk away again, he made a silent vow. He would find a way to reach her no matter how long it took. And with that newfound determination, he began to visualize how to face whatever came next. But would this be enough in the end? What did trust truly mean after all this time? The lights dimmed slightly, casting a soft glow in the cramped corner where Chris stood, wrestling with his thoughts. He could still see Lily, her laughter echoing in the distance, mingling with the lively chatter of her friends. He felt as if he was on the outside looking in, longing to break through the barrier that separated them. As the minutes ticked by, an uncomfortable silence enveloped him. It gnawed at his heart, this missed chance, this fleeting moment where he did finally speak his truth. He took a step forward, hoping maybe she would look back, but her attention was completely absorbed by her friends. What now? He muttered under his breath, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. He wasn't ready to give up, not yet. Maybe it was time to take a leap of faith. He pulled out his phone, staring at the blank screen. No, he whispered. Texting wouldn't do. Words on a screen could never capture the weight of what he wanted to say. It needed to be face-to-face, heart-to-heart. Without thinking further, Chris decided to leave the main hall. Maybe he could find her in a quieter space. He walked through the maze of tables, the laughter and music fading behind him. As he stepped outside into the cool evening air, reality hit him like a wave. What if she doesn't want to hear from me again? He thought, a heaviness settling in his stomach. But then another thought flickered. What if she did? He wandered into a nearby garden, a space lined with twinkling fairy lights and the faint scent of blooming flowers. It felt peaceful here, a stark contrast to the chaos just moments ago. Chris let his fingers trail along the cool iron gate, searching for the right path to take. Just as he turned to leave, he heard footsteps approaching. Rounding the bushes, it was Lily, her eyes wide and searching, as if she had noticed his absence and followed him here. What are you doing out here? She asked, suddenly halting before him. I needed to talk to you. Really talk, he replied, feeling a rush of adrenaline course through him. About what? We were having fun, you know? Her tone was sharper, but Chris could sense a tinge of vulnerability hiding beneath it. Maybe you were. But I wasn't. I can't shake the feeling I might lose my chance with you. Again he confessed, his voice quiet but firm. I don't want you to think I'm just here for a show. I want to be part of your life, be present. I want to make things right. Her expression softened, but it was still laced with confusion. You don't get to just pop back into my life and expect everything to be the same. There are reasons why I've built walls, you know? Chris stepped closer, his vulnerability laid bare. I know I've hurt you, and I know this is going to take time. It's not about being the same. I just want to start again. As if we're putting together a new puzzle piece by piece. Lily's eyes glimmered with unshed tears, and he could see the struggle in her face, the yearning for connection battling against the scars of betrayal. But what if I'm not ready? She whispered, almost to herself. Then we go at your pace. I'm willing to wait, he promised, grounding himself in this moment. Before she could respond, the laughter from the party drifted into the garden. reminding them both of the world they had just walked away from. It tugged at the corners of Lily's mouth, an involuntary smile threatening to emerge as she glanced over her shoulder. "Let me ask you something," she said, catching him off guard. "When was the moment you decided to come back?" "Why now?" Chris took a breath, the question hanging heavy in the air. It was simple but profound. "I realized I didn't want to live in a world where you didn't exist in my life. Too much time was lost, and I couldn't bear the thought of losing any more." Her expression shifted again, and for the first time, he felt hope break through her defenses. "Maybe," she started hesitantly, "maybe we can try talking more? But just know I'm not making any promises." His heart raced at her words, a beacon of possibility shining through the clouds of doubt. "That's all I ask. Just a chance to prove myself." As they stood there surrounded by the faint hum of distant laughter, Chris felt a renewed sense of determination. This was just the beginning. But as they stepped back towards the noisy party, he couldn't shake the gnawing feeling that the path ahead wouldn't be easy. Would their fragile connection withstand the trials yet to come? The moment weighed heavily on him, but for the first time in ages, a spark of hope ignited anew. What unseen challenges would rise to test their fragile beginnings? Lily took a deep breath, the scent of jasmine and fresh grass wrapping around her like a warm blanket. As they walked back toward the cacophony of the party, she stole glances at Chris, still pinching herself to ensure he was truly real, truly back in her life after everything. The crowd was louder now, a blur of colors and sounds that felt foreign after the intimacy of their conversation. Laughter rang out, but it felt distant, as if the music and chatter were happening in another realm entirely. She could hardly believe he was standing beside her, his presence both thrilling and terrifying. "Do you want to head inside?" he asked, his voice breaking through her reverie. "I guess," she replied, though her heart certainly wasn't ready for the noise. But she didn't want to retreat to the safe confines of solitude either. A part of her craved the company, and maybe within the groups they were about to rejoin, they could find a space that felt more comfortable. As they stepped back into the main hall, the clamor engulfed them once more. Chris pointed to a nearby table with a few friends, a couple of familiar faces smiling brightly at them. "How about we join them?" Lily nodded, but unease crept back in. What if their laughter morphed from joyful into judgmental whispers, as they dissected what had just happened? What if Chris revealed too much too soon? Yet, something about Chris ignited an unrelenting curiosity within her, pulling her toward the unknown. She could feel their friends' excitement radiating as they approached. "There you guys are. We thought you vanished," Claire exclaimed, her eyes sparkling under the ambient lights. "Just taking a breather," Chris replied smoothly, his charm seamless as he slid into the group. Lily stood beside him, trying to smile though her heart raced. Conversation swirled around her, and every laugh felt like a fragile bubble of joy. But all she could think about was Chris. As the evening wore on, she felt herself sliding back into the rhythm of camaraderie. Sharing stories, laughing and teasing felt good, but she kept stealing glances at Chris. He was engaged, chatting easily, his laughter warm and genuine, but Lily wondered if he could really make himself a part of her life again, or if he was just a shiny distraction from lingering pain. And a quiet moment, she caught his eye across the room as he spoke with one of their mutual friends. There was something undeniably magnetic about him, something that made her heart flutter with both excitement and dread. "Are you two going to keep us in suspense?" Claire leaned over, nudging Lily playfully. "We heard you had a serious talk out there. Is everything okay? Are you back together?" Before Lily could respond, Chris jumped in. "Not exactly together yet. Just taking baby steps. Rebuilding, you know?" His eyes flicked to Lily, a reassurance shimmering within them. Claire raised an eyebrow. "Interesting. You have to keep us posted as this develops. You know we're here cheering you on." Lily's heart sank and soared all at once. They were merely spectators now, reduced bits in their unfolding story, and part of her wanted to scream to the world about their truth, while another part wanted to hide and protect it. She felt a weight heavy on her chest as she struggled with how to navigate this new path. "This feels different," Chris muttered, leaning in closer. "I can see it in your face. You're thinking about what everyone else is feeling again." Lily's stomach twisted. It was true. She was too caught up in the perceptions of others instead of savoring the moment. Hadn't he just told her to take things slow? To rebuild one piece at a time? What if they don't understand? She finally admitted, knowing how both their histories could be perceived. They don't have to, he said, his voice like soft velvet. What matters is that we understand each other. Their eyes locked. An unspoken agreement passed between them. The noise of the party faded once more. And for the first time that night, she mustered a smile filled with genuine hope. Maybe there was a way forward, flawed but potential-filled. But as they continued to navigate the evening, the shadows of their past loomed just out of sight. Secrets lay buried beneath the laughter, and Lily's resolve began to falter. What if those secrets came to light? What if the ghosts of their past didn't stay buried as they tried to build something new? Lily's heart raced with uncertainty. She felt the ground shifting beneath her feet, and everything she thought was secure began to unravel before her. And the question loomed, could they truly find their way back together without the past tearing them apart once again? Lily's smile faded as the laughter swirled around her like smoke, beautiful but concealing. The warmth of Chris next to her felt real, yet the ghost of their past clung stubbornly to her thoughts. She needed space to breathe, a moment to escape the vibrant chaos surrounding them. But how could she step away from him? From this delicate rebirth that was just beginning. I think I need a drink, she said suddenly, her eyes darting toward the bar, desperate for something to anchor her. Chris raised an eyebrow, his expression playful but tinged with concern. I can get it for you. No, I'll go, she insisted, moving before he could argue. As she walked away, she sensed Chris's gaze on her, but she didn't look back. The noise of the party faded as she slipped through the throng, seeking refuge at the bar. The bartender greeted her with a nod, and she ordered a simple soda, trying to shake off the unease. The bubbles fizzed in the glass, each one a tiny symbol of her jittery heart. She watched the people around her, caught in their own moments of joy. A couple danced together, lost in their world, while a group of friends raised their glasses in a toast, laughter spilling over like the drinks. They seemed so carefree, untouched by history, by mistakes. Just then, a familiar face stepped up beside her, interrupting her thoughts. It was Jenna, an old friend she hadn't seen in ages. Lily, you look amazing, she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. Thanks, Jenna. It's great to see you, Lily replied, forcing a smile. A wave of warmth washed over her, but above that, she felt a creeping doubt. How have you been? Oh, you know, life and all that. Just finished grad school, and now I'm knee-deep in an internship. Jenna paused, her expression shifting. How about you? What's new? Lily hesitated, the weight of her situation pressing heavily. Just trying to figure things out, she said, choosing her words carefully. It felt strange to explain anything to anyone, particularly when it felt so wrapped in secrecy. Are you still with that guy? What was his name? Chris. Her heart stopped at the sound of his name. Or, not exactly how we used to be, but we're trying. The truth felt fragile, teetering on the edge of something dangerous. Jenna searched her face for more. Trying? Like getting back together? Maybe. I don't know yet. As the words left her mouth, she felt exposed, like she was sharing more than she intended. Well, if you ask me, life's too short for maybes, Jenna proclaimed, taking a sip of her drink. You just have to know what you want and go for it. Lily felt a flush of warmth mixed with anxiety. What was it that she truly wanted? A second chance? A chance to mend the pieces? Or was she simply grasping for something familiar? Scared of the unknown? Thanks, Jenna, she said, her voice softer. I appreciate the pep talk. It's just complicated. Of course it is. Love always is, Jenna replied, her smile brightening. But seriously, you deserve to be happy, Lil. Don't hide away from it. Feeling inspired yet drawn back toward Chris, Lily nodded. You're right. I'll figure it out. As they chatted for a few more moments, Lily's phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, glancing down at the screen. It was Chris, his message simple. You okay? I'm coming over. Her heart raced, a mixture of hope and trepidation swirling inside her. She took a deep breath, feeling both excitement and fear. What would he say? How could they bridge the gap between the past and the future? Hey, I think I need to. She began to say to Jenna, but the words hung awkwardly in the air. Just give me a minute. Sure thing. Go get him, Jenna said with a wink as Lily rounded the corner toward where Chris stood. Her heart thundered in her chest. He looked up, a smile on his face that almost stole her breath. But then she noticed something in his eyes. Was it nervousness? Resolve? Lily, he said softly, stepping closer. Everything she thought she knew began to shift again, and a single pulse of worry shot through her. What if they couldn't break free from the shadows looming behind them? What if everything fell apart in this fragile moment of reconnection? Could she strike a balance between love and fear, or would the hurtful memories rip them apart again? The approaching collision of their past and present hung heavy in the air. Lily held her breath, the moment stretching out like a taut string ready to snap. Chris took another step closer, closing the distance between them. She could sense the anticipation and the weight of unspoken words hanging in the space. "Hey," he said, his voice low. "I was worried when you walked off. You okay?" The care in his tone melted some of her tension. "Just needed a minute," she replied, hoping her smile didn't look too forced. He nodded, his brows slightly furrowing. "It's a wild party, isn't it?" "Yeah, wild." The crowd danced and shouted behind them, but all she could focus on was Chris's gaze, searching, waiting. "Listen," he paused, a flicker of hesitation crossing his face. "I want to talk about us, about everything. But we can't do it here. It's too noisy." Lily felt her heart skip. The flicker of hope ignited further. "Okay, where do you want to go?" He glanced around and then nodded toward a quieter corner of the hall, bathed in soft light. "Over there, maybe?" They walked side by side, and as each second passed, the memories rushed back to her. So many times they had shared soft moments like this. Yet now it felt different, loaded with things left unsaid. Once they settled into the corner, Chris took a deep breath. "So what's on your mind? I mean, really?" Lily swallowed hard, the weight of her thoughts crashing over her like a wave. "I don't know if I even know what I'm feeling. Everything feels so complicated." She had to be raw honest. "Part of me wants to fling myself into us, but the other part is terrified of where that might lead." Chris's eyes softened. "I feel the same, you know? I've missed you more than I thought I would. But there's so much baggage. I just don't want us to hurt each other again." The vulnerability in his voice tugged at her heartstrings. "Do you think we can face that together? Can we even begin to handle it?" He leaned in closer, their breaths mingling. "I believe we can. I just need to know how much you want this, how much you want me." His words unfurled something deep within her, a longing she thought was dulled. "I want it, Chris. I really do. But it's not easy to forget the past." "I know." He paused, searching her eyes. "The truth is, I'm willing to fight for it. For us. I want to be back in your life if you'll have me." Every fiber of her being ached at his declaration, igniting a warmth she had feared was extinguished. But still, a specter of doubt lingered in her mind. And what if we fail again? What if we can't make it work? He hesitated, then reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "We won't know unless we try. And I promise I'll do everything to prove it to you." Before he could finish, a loud crash echoed through the hall, jolting them both. Lily turned to see a group of friends tripping over a table, laughter erupting from the crowd. The lightheartedness around them felt jarring against the intensity of their conversation. Lily forced a laugh, trying to ease the tension, but Chris's gaze remained locked on her. "What if we bring those people into our conversation? What if we can share the weight a bit?" "Maybe it's safer that way," she replied slowly. "Safe can sometimes be a trap," he warned, his voice serious. Lily's heart pounded. What was she really ready to risk? The uncertainty loomed larger than before, each beat echoing the choice that lay before her. Chris leaned closer, his eyes serious again. "But I need you to know I don't want safe. I want real with you." The walls around her heart cracked just a bit more. Could she really let herself believe in them again? Suddenly, Lily's phone buzzed again, cutting through the moment. She glanced down, noticing it was a message from Jenna. "What's happening? Are you two okay?" Lily looked back at Chris, whose expression was expectant but uncertain. "It's a lot to think about," she said quietly. "Yeah," he replied, clearly feeling the weight of her words. What if this evening wasn't just about reconnecting? What if it was somehow leading them both toward a bigger revelation? And with those thoughts racing in her mind, she realized she had to decide. Could she embrace the chaos of their past to pave the way for something bright and new? Or would she stand still, trapped by doubt? Just as she opened her mouth to respond, The lights flickered and dimmed, stirring a hush among the crowd. Lily felt a ripple of tension, the moment heavy with anticipation. "Lily, what do you want?" Chris's question hung in the air again, genuine and searching. She took a breath, ready to confront the moment. What would she choose, the familiar shadows or the uncertain light ahead? Lily's heart raced as she held Chris's gaze, every thought swirling inside her. The soft glow of the lights around them created an almost dreamlike atmosphere. But a reality tugged at the edges of that dream, thick and real. It was the weight of choices, fears, and perhaps a chance for something extraordinary. She started, but the words escaped her as the music from the party swelled back into clarity, distracting her momentarily. It felt so chaotic, so bright, and yet all she could see was Chris, the way his brow furrowed with concern, the slight tremble of his hand still clasping hers. "What do you want?" he repeated, his voice a low murmur against the backdrop of laughter and music. The intensity in his gaze made the world around them fade. Suddenly it wasn't about the party or their friends. It was just them standing on the edge. "I don't know," she breathed out, the truth leaving her lips raw and honest. Every inch of her wanted to dive into the unknown, to take a leap of faith and trust that they could carve a new path together. But that deep-rooted fear crept back, in a fear of returning to sadness, of falling apart again. What if we took things slowly?" she suggested, her voice stronger than she felt. "Like, let us take it step by step. One moment at a time." Chris's eyes lit up with that idea, a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. "I can work with that," he said. "I just want to be in your life, however that looks." Lily found herself smiling, the corners of her mouth lifting in a way that felt so foreign yet so good. "Yeah, I think I'd like that too." Small moments she imagined, quiet weekends, shared ice cream, long drives, and laughter echoing through their old haunts. "But I will say," he leaned in closer, and she could feel the warmth radiating from him, "we can't ignore the past. It's part of us, right?" "Right," she agreed, but her stomach flipped. There was no rulebook here. Their past was messy, filled with fractured truths and hurt. "But I want to believe we can change the narrative. This is a chance, Chris." He smiled, a slow, genuine expression that sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach. "Then let us start right now." Before she could respond, the music shifted to a slower tempo, and people began to twirl, urging them to join in. Chris stood and extended his hand toward her. "Dance with me?" The unexpected gesture caught her off guard, but the spark in his eyes made any hesitation dissolve. She took his hand, feeling the warmth travel through her. It felt as if they danced out of the shadows and into the light, unsure but hopeful. As they moved, she felt every beat of her heart sync with the rhythm of the music. It had been so long since they had danced together like this, intimately lost in a world that felt like it belonged only to them. But as Lily settled into the moment, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. With each sway, she couldn't help but think about the risks they still faced, the unresolved issues lurking beneath the surface. Suddenly, a familiar face from the crowd caught her eye, Jenna, making her way over with a beam of excitement. "There you two are," Jenna exclaimed, her voice cutting through the melody. Lily's heart sank, the perfect moment cracking just slightly. "Lily, there is something you need to know." Jenna's expression shifted, and the laughter faded for a split second, replaced by a seriousness that tugged Lily right back to the present. Chris's expression mirrored her unease. "What is it?" he asked, concern tightening his features. And in that moment, deeper than the dance, a new feeling surged within Lily, a mix of fear and curiosity, an inkling that whatever Jenna was about to say could shift everything. What could it be that would pierce through their tentative plans and lay the past wide open again? Lily took a breath, waiting for the revelation that threatened to change everything once more. "Lily, it's about your dad," Jenna said, her voice steady yet urgent. The laughter around them faded into silence, leaving only the tension of the moment hanging heavily in the air. Chris turned his gaze to Lily, the warmth of their earlier connection dissolving into an icy knot of worry. "What about him?" Lily said, her heart racing with unexpected fear. "He's in town and he's asking about you." Jenna paused, gauging her reaction. Lily felt herself teeter on the edge of disbelief and confusion. The past suddenly surged back with unwanted clarity. "What does that mean?" Chris interjected, sensing Lily's withdrawal. "Your dad? The one who hurt you?" There was disbelief in his eyes, a flicker of anger. Lily stood frozen, struggling to process the whirlwind of emotions. I thought he'd moved on, she stammered. Memories of bitterness flooded her mind, the absence and the countless reasons for the hurt that had shaped her over the years. The man who had left was suddenly re-emerging, as if the past had chosen this moment to distort their fragile present. Sure, we can talk later, Jenna urged, her voice dropping to a whisper. It's not just that he's here. He wants to see you, and well, he seems different. Lily's mind raced. Could he ever truly change? Could the man who had walked away actually fight to forge a new path? And did she even want to go down that road? I don't know how to feel right now, she whispered almost to herself. I understand, Chris said softly, his voice steadying her whirlwind. But what do you want? His eyes searched hers, steady and magnetic, reminding her of why she reached out to him in the first place. I want to believe people can change, she replied slowly. But can I risk it? Jenna shifted uncomfortably, sensing the crossroads they were standing at. You have a choice to make. You could see him or you could say no. Just know that whatever you decide, you've come so far already. Chris took a deep breath, still holding Lily's gaze. You don't owe him anything, Lily. But if you want to confront your past, I'll be there with you. He stepped closer, solid and reassuring, reminding her of the bond they had just begun to build. Lily's heart felt heavy with the weight of possibilities. She thought of her father, how much time had passed, and if there was a chance for reconciliation that they could achieve together. She glanced at Chris. You'd really stand by me? Always. But it's your decision. With that, Lily felt a spark ignite in her chest, a mix of courage and trepidation. Okay, she whispered, feeling the warmth of possibility wash over her. Eventually, she turned back toward Jenna, feeling the steadiness of new resolve. Tell him I'm willing to talk. Maybe he deserves a chance to prove he's different. Maybe I should at least see for myself. The words tumbled out, and with each declaration, the weight of the past began to lighten in waves. Jenna smiled gently, visibly relieved. You're bold, she said, and I admire that. Lily felt a chip break off the fortress she had built around her heart. It wasn't just about confronting her father, it felt like a step toward confronting herself, her choices and her future. As they began to move back into the party, Chris's hand found hers again. Are you sure about this? He asked, his tone serious yet tender. Yeah, she replied, squeezing his hand. I am. This is my moment. Our moment. The music swelled again, a playful beat that felt like freedom as they made their way back into the swirling crowd, a dance of emotions still clashing and uniting before them. She stole a glance at Chris, who wore a proud smile, and she felt lighter, buoyed by a mixture of old fears and new hopes. There was still much to navigate, untangle and undo, but this time, she wasn't alone. As the dance floor beckoned, she took in a breath filled with promise. Lily and Chris moved confidently into the laughter and light, hand in hand, ready for whatever might come, ready to embrace the uncertain future they had just begun to imagine together. This was just the beginning. Don't wait, subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed that algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. I want to know what you're feeling. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to make it happen. Don't let this slip away.